You've seen it, right? The headlines, the posts from that one friend on social media. This stock just went to the moon. Or my crypto portfolio is up 1,000%. It seriously feels like there's this huge party happening, and you're the only one who didn't get an invitation. Well, let's dive into why that is.
I mean, you try to do the right thing. You do a bit of research, you buy something that looks promising, and then, boom, the price tanks. You're just sitting there watching your hard-earned cash just evaporate. So what gives? Why does it feel like you're the only one losing in a game everyone else is winning?
Well, here's the brutal truth. The single biggest thing standing between you and consistent profits, it's not some secret Wall Street algorithm or a market conspiracy. No, it's that supercomputer sitting right between your ears. Your own brain, your own psychology is actively working against you.
So here's the game plan. We're going to start by identifying the investor's real worst enemy. Then we'll break down the 5 fatal flaws that enemy creates. After that, we'll talk about how to flip the script. I'll give you a rational playbook to follow, and we'll wrap it all up with the one big takeaway that could change everything for you. Okay, let's get into it and start by diagnosing the actual problem. We're going to unpack 5 core psychological traps. Think of these as the fatal flaws that cause most people to consistently lose money. And look, understanding them is the absolute first step to beating them.
Flaw number 1, our basic human programming is totally wrong for investing. I mean, our caveman brains are wired for survival, not for analyzing stock charts. So when a stock is soaring, our greed instinct starts screaming, "Get in, don't miss out." And what do? We buy high, right at the peak. Then when it crashes, our fear instinct shrieks, "Get out, sell, save what's left." And so we sell at the bottom. This buy high, sell low cycle is probably the most destructive force in all of personal finance.
And that leads us straight into flaw number 2, treating the stock market like it's a giant casino. See, when you're caught in that greed and fear loop, you're not actually investing, you're just gambling. You're obsessed with the price, looking for a quick flip, chasing that adrenaline rush. A real investor, on the other hand, thinks like a business owner. They focus on the value of the company, not just the price of the stock. The goal is long-term ownership. It's about patience, not playing the lottery.
So what fuels that casino mindset? Well, that would be flaw number 3, the information tsunami. We are absolutely drowning in financial news, social media hot takes, and 24/7 market updates. And this chart says it all, really. About 95% of what you're consuming is just noise. It's literally designed to provoke an emotional reaction. Fear, greed, excitement, to keep you clicking and watching, not to actually make you a better investor.
This is the perfect way to think about it. All that noise gets you reacting to the daily weather. A bad headline, a sudden drop, some random tweet. But what you should be doing is focusing on the long-term climate, the fundamental strength and direction of your investments over years or even decades.
And all that noise is constantly trying to sell you on one big, dangerous idea. Which brings us to flaw number 4, the myth of the sure thing. Let's be crystal clear about this. There is no such thing as a guaranteed, get-rich-quick investment. Anyone who tells you otherwise is selling you something. This hunt for a risk-free home run is exactly what creates bubbles and leads really smart people to make some, well, not-so-smart decisions.
And why do we fall for these so-called sure things? That brings us to the final flaw, number 5. And I want you to ask yourself this, honestly. Do you have an actual written-down strategy for your investments? Or do you just have a collection of random tips you've picked up from friends, from the news, from some guy on the internet? Because without a plan, you're a ship without a rudder, just getting tossed around by every emotional wave in the market.
Okay, so that's the bad news. Those are the traps your own mind sets for you, and they're pretty powerful. But here's the good news. Now that we've dragged them out into the light, we can build a system to actually defeat them. It's time to flip the script.
Look, it's really important to get this. Losing money this way doesn't mean you're dumb or unlucky. The market is just a system that is ruthlessly efficient at exploiting our natural human tendencies. These aren't personal failings. They're like bugs in our collective software. But the amazing part is, you can install an update. You absolutely can beat the system at its own game. So how do we install that update? Let's get into the solutions. This is your Rational Investor Playbook, a 5-step framework designed to shift you from emotional reactions to disciplined actions and finally to stable profits. All right, here are the 5 core steps. First, you educate yourself, not your emotions. Arm yourself with real knowledge about how businesses work. Second, you learn to embrace boring investing, seriously. Third, you have to consciously tune out the noise.
Fourth, you build that personalized, written plan we just talked about. And finally, number 5, and this one's huge, you shift your entire perspective to think in decades, not in days.
So what on earth do I mean by embrace boring? It's a total mindset shift. You stop chasing the daily drama of price swings and hype, and you start focusing on great companies that are just relentlessly good at what they do. It's not sexy, but it's what actually builds life-changing wealth over time.
Okay, so when you go to build that plan, it can't just be a vague idea in your head. It needs to be a real document, and it has to answer these 5 questions. 1, what is my specific goal? 2, what is my time horizon? When do I actually need this money? 3, how much risk can I really tolerate? Be honest with yourself. And finally, the most important part, what are my pre-decided, non-negotiable rules for when I buy and when I sell? Writing this down is your greatest defense against your own emotions.
So as we wrap this up, you can see the solution isn't some magic stock pick or a secret trading strategy. All 5 of those flaws, and all 5 steps in the playbook, they all really boil down to one central idea. The ultimate takeaway here is that successful investing is, first and foremost, a mindset shift.
This quote just says it all, doesn't it? The market is a powerful and impartial machine, and its main job, day in and day out, is to take money from people who act on impulse and emotion and give it to people who act with discipline and a plan. The battle isn't you against the market, it's you against you.
So I'll leave you with this final thought. Now you know the traps, and you have the playbook to avoid them. You have a choice to make. Are you going to keep being a gambler, just betting on flickering prices and hoping you get lucky, or are you ready to become a disciplined business owner, investing in real value for the long haul? The choice is entirely yours.